Okay, Hari Om. 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 प्रातस्मरामि हृदि संस्फुरदात्मतत्त्वम् सच्चित्सुखं परमहं सगतिं तुरीयम् यत्स्वप्नजागरसुषुप्तमवैति नित्यं तद्ब्रह्मनिष्कलमहं न च भूतसङ्गः तपोभिक्षीणपापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणां मुमुक्षूणामपेक्षोऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते बोधोऽन्यसाधनेभ्यो हि साक्षान्मोक्षैकसाधनं पाकस्य वह्निवज्ञानं विना मोक्षो न सिद्ध्यति. We'll chant from chapter 6, verse 43 to the end of the chapter. Yeah, upon your screen. Verse number 43 to the end of the chapter. तत्र तं बुद्धिसंयोगं लभते पौर्वदेहिकं यतते च ततो भूयः संसिद्धौ कुरु नन्दन. पूर्वाभ्यासेन तेनैव ह्रियते हवशोऽपि सः जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्दब्रह्माति वर्तते. पूर्वाभ्यासेन तेनैव ह्रियते हवशोऽपि सः जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्दब्रह्माति वर्तते. प्रयत्नाद्यतमानस्तु योगी संशुद्धकिल्बिषः अनेकजन्मसंसिद्धः ततो याति परां गतिम्. तपस्विभ्योऽधिको योगी ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद्योगी भवार्जुन. योगिमानपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेनान्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान् भजते यो मां समे युक्ततमो मतः. Okay. Okay. There you go.
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om.
Everyone.
Hari
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, everybody.
Okay, we'll start with questions. Are there any questions?
I want you to explain that the reward by the action and for the action.
Okay. So I posted that snip from the text only, wherein he makes it quite well. He makes it quite clear what he means by that. And in that context alone, I mentioned that you are rewarded by your action, not for your action. When we say you are rewarded for your action, what are we saying? We are saying that, oh, for what you do, some powerful entity, some powerful force will judge it, will assess it, will measure it, and then give you either a reward or a punishment. The moment you use the word for, you're rewarded for your action, it means, oh, there is some other entity which is assessing your action and therefore giving you a result of it. And that's how, when we look at the Lord from a devotional lens, we see him in this light, right? But there comes a time when you have to graduate from that thinking, because the Lord says, I am Sakshi. The same Lord says, I am Sakshi. So what does it mean? There is no God who's sitting and measuring and judging, and God is simply that unseen hand that is upholding karma. Karma is doing everything. Karma is that it's a self-sufficient system in itself. It's complex. It cannot be comprehended. Karma is Gehara, right? He says in chapter number 3. Gahana. It is Gahana. It's deep. It's incomprehensible. Yet, it is a self-sufficient system by itself. It doesn't require. That's the beauty of the system created by the Lord as such, right? It is remarkable. Millions and millions and trillions of things in the world today, all functioning simultaneously, all existing, all overlapping by this incredible force of karma. Don't be foolish enough to think that you can take out one strand and understand it in isolation. Oh, this is happening because this happened. It's impossible. And anyone who's trying to tell you that is fooling you. So you're not rewarded for your action. Karma is a self-sufficient system in itself. You are rewarded by the action itself. The action itself brings about the result. You don't have to worry about what a God will think about you. Worry about the intention and the nature of the action you're performing itself. Because the action itself will reward you, the action itself will punish you. So therefore, in that excerpt, in that snip I posted, he says it. He says, the law of life is that you are punished always by your action and not for your action. Similarly, you are rewarded by your action, not for your action. A vicious action itself results in mental agony. There's no God who is punishing you because of a vicious action. The action itself results in agony. No other agent is involved in meting out the punishment. Likewise, selfless action, an action dedicated to a higher altar, turns your mind peaceful and blissful. The action itself rewards you with peace and bliss. That's all we meant by that statement. Yes, Rashmi.
So I have a question from verse 6.
Of which chapter?
6.
Okay.
So the statement itself, for him who has conquered himself, the self is his friend. But for him who has not conquered the self verily becomes hostile like an enemy.
Yeah.
Then when you read the whole paragraph, the main lines which are Atma referred to as a friend or foe, it's in the second paragraph, means the supreme self within, whereas Atma referred to the terms of being controlled or conquered obviously refers to the little self comprising the individual material components. When you conquer the little self, the supreme self is like your friend. When you have not conquered it, the supreme self is like an enemy. So I need this clarification.
What do you need clarified?
It
Whole
says,
thing?
yes, I think I did not understand this.
In the art of asking questions, it is also suggested, since you are making the effort, I'm giving you my 2 cents. For those who don't make the effort, I will not give them my 2 cents. They're all piggybacking. Since you're making the effort, the purpose of a question is to actually open avenues for your own understanding. And it's remarkable that the moment you ask the question, some part of the answer already becomes apparent, right? So what's very important in asking a question is to actually become specific about it. Say, what exactly is it that I'm not understanding? I'm not saying you don't do that. I'm saying you articulating that for yourself itself will give you a lot of clarity and will give the person who's maybe answering your question a lot more clarity about, okay, what are you understanding from it? What are you not understanding from it? Right? Because if you just ask me, okay, please explain this, I'll give my own general explanation again. Right? So in the ashram, there used to be a big group discussion and a small group discussion. Okay, the big group discussion was with the bigger group all in once, generally with Swamiji answering all our queries. The small group discussion was when we broke up into small groups of 7, 8, 9 people maximum. And in those small groups, the Rashmi in that group would ask the question, I have a question. Even there was a shortage of questioners. Don't think this is only this classroom. So whoever was Rashmi in that group would ask the question. The first 20 minutes we would spend, once the question has been asked, the first 20 minutes we would spend in clarifying, okay, what exactly are you asking? Okay, what exactly do you not understand? Okay, let's frame your question most precisely to express what it is that you don't understand in the question. Because then when that same question goes to Swamiji, it goes as a very clear, articulate, specific query. Okay, this is what I don't understand in the paragraph you've written. Right? So we'll give a reference of a couple of lines. We'll say, okay, it is clear that this is, but I don't understand this. Can you please explain? That's how we would formulate the question. Very helpful exercise. I used to find it very helpful personally, and I would highly encourage those of you who've gotten into the habit of reading and maybe formulating some questions to actually, chisel out what is the specific thing that we don't understand. But until we get a more specific query, here's a general explanation of what this verse is saying. Uddhare Atmanat.
Sorry. I can ask one small question is how Atman is the enemy. That's what exactly.
So Atman is not the enemy. That's precisely what the paragraph is saying. Atman is Sakshi. The Atman is like an enemy. And that's very clearly even Shatruvat. It's not saying Atman is Shatru. It's Shatruvat. Like an enemy. Right? See, we have to look at it from the perspective of your own experience. When you feel close to something, you feel more friendly and connected to it. When you feel close to something, you feel more connected to it, you feel more friendly to it. When you feel disconnected from something, when something feels alien to you, when you feel far from something, it appears hostile, it appears something that's not relatable, it appears inimical almost, right? So what's he saying? Bandhu, friend, is one who gives you solace, comfort, happiness. Shatru means enemy, causing trouble, discomfort, sorrow. Atman takes the role of a friend when you control and gain mastery of your material equipments. Conversely, the same Atman behaves like an enemy when you fail to control, when you fail to control and one second, when you fail to control and become enslaved by them. The verse uses Sanskrit word Atma in different senses. Atma referred to as friend or foe means the supreme self within, whereas Atma referred to in terms of being controlled or conquered, obviously referred to as the little self comprising the individual material equipment. When you conquer the little self, the supreme self is your friend. When you have not conquered, the supreme self is like your enemy. Okay, what does he mean by that? See, first of all, the Atman is Sakshi. It is neither your friend nor your enemy. There, I said it. When you feel close and connected to it, and when do you feel close and connected to it? When you live a spiritual life, when you gain control over your own material equipments, when you become an objective person, when you become a contemplative, devotional person, you automatically feel connected to this unseen hand, this Atman within. So it becomes a friend essentially, right? When, on the contrary, when you live selfish, indulgent, materialistic, completely absorbed in the passions and desires of your own mind, when you have become enslaved by your personality, means what the personality demands, you do. You're driven by your own impulses, you're driven by your own strong desires, you're driven by selfish motives, right? In that case, in that scenario, what it'll appear like is your own being will rebel against you. What it'll appear like is that you will be agitated, you'll be frustrated, you'll be hurrying and worrying, you'll be stressed. These are natural outcomes. As we just said in clarification to Rashnaji's question, vicious actions itself produce mental agitation, right? And where's that agitation coming from? It's not necessarily coming from an outer circumstance, it's coming from your own personality. It's coming from within you. So the peace and serenity, which is a natural outcome of unselfish, selfless action, is replaced by mental agony, agitation, stress, and a host of a variety of emotions: greed, jealousy, anger, whatever you want to call it, or whatever you can relate it to. These make it seem as if your own self, your own being is against you, is working against you, right? So it appears like an enemy. There are, again, this is poetry. This is poetry. So another way to look at it is that when you work in a certain way, when you function in a certain way, when you pitch up a higher ideal and work unselfishly towards it, the peace and contentment you get acts as a tailwind. It acts as a natural sort of supporter of what you're doing. You feel in sync, you feel connected. On the contrary, when you act in a selfish and indulgent and completely materialistic way, the agitations, the stress, the worry burns you out. It withholds your progress, right? So the same peace and prosperity which was propelling you earlier is turned into worry, anxiety, stress, which seems to be sort of, making you suffer, right? It's not so much the outer circumstances that are making you suffer as much as the inner sort of state of mind you are in, right? So that's when your own self, your own being, your own personality feels like an enemy to you. Why? Because you haven't conquered your little self, you haven't conquered your emotions, you haven't turned objective to your own desires in your being, right? So these are two ways in which you can look at this section. Yeah. Okay. Any further questions?
Little bit, if you could, selflessness we were talking about. So, unselfish and selflessness is like the difference is the ego. Like,
The difference between unselfishness and selflessness is kartritva bhavana and bhoktritva bhavana. An unselfish person, a selfish person is one. I'm going to draw your attention to this section itself. You can see it in the commentary of verse number 42. Human activities fall under three broad classifications. Actions performed with selfish desire. So those actions which are performed with, see, a selfish action is one propelled by a selfish desire. It is desire which is propelling your action. It is desire which is propelling your action. Without desire, there can be no action. Please understand this. If you don't have a desire, you will not perform action. So, if the nature of that desire is selfish, what does that mean? The desire, the preoccupation of the desire, the predominant sort of thought in the desire is, what can I get? What am I getting? How will I benefit? If that's the whole and soul emphasis of the desire, it's called a selfish desire. The extent to which it is selfish, to that extent you are blind to the existence or the needs of others. See, it's a spectrum. We try to break it up into three categories, but actually it's a spectrum, right? The second category, somewhere in the middle of the spectrum, is actions performed with unselfish desires. So what is an unselfish desire? An unselfish desire is where the motive, the predominant emphasis is on what can I do? How can I serve? How can I contribute? What is my role? What part can I play? So the emphasis there is what needs to be done. Very different. The same action can have a selfish emphasis. The same action can have an unselfish emphasis. And for those of you who have the eyes to see, it's very clear. We have to have eyes to see that though. Who's performing a selfish action, who's performing an unselfish action. You get small hints from small choices they make. It's not very apparent, not very easily apparent. It's all in the demeanor. You have to have that eye to see, sharp eyes. So the same action which is performed with an unselfish intent is called an unselfish action. The action may be the same. The intention is what makes it selfish. The intention is what makes it unselfish. Okay, so what is the emphasis in an unselfish action? I am doing this. How can I help? What is my contribution? What's my role? Right? If you get this far, you've come quite far. Tap yourself on the back. If this is the way you function in the world, you'll be peaceful and prosperous. Don't worry. Now, for those of you who have the itch to go further, yes, there is even a further stage of evolution wherein actions are performed without desires. What does that mean? You just said desire is necessary for action. Without desire, there's no action. What do you mean by action performed without desires? I'm still telling you, there is no action possible without desire. So what is selfless action? The very desire that is propelling you to act, you abandon that. What do you mean you abandon it? It's a shift of emphasis. When it comes to, it's a disassociation with the desire. What does it mean to disassociate with the desire? It is not what I want, it is what I am designed to do. Two very different ways of looking at it. Not necessarily what I want, even the thought, even the desire that comes into you is not something you possess. It's something that's a propellant from the past. It's what nature has designed you for. So even my desire is something I'm designed to do. Let me do it to the best of my ability. It's a detachment from the kartritva bhavna that I am doing this. It is my desire. It's my vision. It's my goal. It's my aspiration. Right? And it's a dissociation with the bhoktritva bhavna. I would want this to happen. I want to see it prosper. I want to see it, progress. Therein, the entire emphasis is on this is my karyam karma. Let me do it to the best of my ability, simply as an instrument of nature. I am a participant, I am an instrument, I am a constituent of this larger karma kanda, as it is, of this larger cycle of karma that it is. Let me be an instrument and play my role to the best of my ability. Like a game, like a sport. The same action. So, what is different? It's totally a shift of focus, a shift of the आपके देखने का नजरिया, the way you look at your own actions is what is changing. So the same action can be selfish. What do I want? How will I benefit? Or unselfish. How can I help? How can I contribute? Or selfless. This is what I'm designed to do. Let me do it to the best of my ability. Let me play my part and get out. When you see life as from a very kaleidoscopic view, when you realize that you're a drop in the ocean, when you realize that, of course, boond boond se sagar banta hai, so that drop is very important, but at the same time, it's just a drop. Both are true. When you don't give a black market value to what you're doing or what needs to be done. See, the moment, even if you're doing something good, a lot of kartritva comes in. Oh, I'm
Yes.
supposed to do it. I need to do it. अगर ये नहीं होगा तो कुछ नहीं होगा.
Basically, selflessly, like you don't remember, it just happens. But if you remember that means kartritva bhavna comes in.
See, you don't have to try to remember or not
Yeah,
remember.
yeah.
The moment you develop this mindset, of this is what I'm designed to do, and that comes through jnanam, that comes through sort of your alignment with this knowledge. The moment that happens, you won't have to think about remembering or not remembering. Automatically, your mind won't bother. Remembering or not remembering is an outcome. You can't try to be selfless. Huh? No, I have to do this selflessly now. No. Selflessness is a result. Just as unselfishness is a result. I need to do this unselfishly. If you're selfish, automatically the thought of what is in it for me will creep in. Only with establishment in knowledge will slowly that very thought आपको अपना ख्याल ही नहीं आएगा. अरे मेरे लिए कुछ बचा है क्या? अरे मेरे लिए बचा करके रखो थोड़ा. वो ख्याल ही नहीं आएगा. Right? Why? Because so remembering or not remembering is an outcome, is a result. Right? It's not something that can be mechanically practiced. Okay. There are no further questions. Verse number 43.
Thank you.
तत्र तं बुद्धि संयोगं लभते पौर्वदेहिकं यतते च ततो भूयः संसिद्धौ कुरु नन्दन. तत्र तं बुद्धि संयोगं लभते पौर्वदेहिकं यतते च ततो भूयः संसिद्धौ कुरु नन्दन. There, there, united with the knowledge acquired in his former body, he strives more than ever before for perfection. O Kurunandana. O Kurunandana, recall what I have just said in these last two verses. A person on the spiritual journey who falls short of the final, the culmination of yoga. Their effort is not wasted, their effort is not lost. They are reincarnated into an environment that is conducive for their further growth. They are reincarnated into an environment of peace and prosperity, wherein a lot of other things in life are taken care of. Or they're born, even more special is a birth into an environment of wise sages, wherein the focus, the emphasis, the very flavor of life of your entire environment is sadhana, is moksha, an environment of wise sages. Nothing else is given precedence. Such an environment, there, that's what he means by there. There means such an environment. There, in these new environments where he is reincarnated, united with the knowledge acquired in the former body. ये जो कहते हैं ना आप कुछ नहीं लेके जाते हो, सब कुछ छोड़ना पड़ेगा यहाँ पे, गलत है. जो ज्ञान आप इस जीवन में अपने अंगीकार करते हो वो आप आगे लेके जाते हो. There, united with the knowledge acquired in this former body, the knowledge you acquire in this body right now, the knowledge you acquire now, what does that mean? That means that whatever knowledge you sort of manthan, whatever knowledge you absorb, whatever knowledge you turn into your lived wisdom, that transforms your vasanas. That changes the very essence of who you are. That eradicates a lot of unnecessary stuff, what we call sanchita. A lot of unnecessary sanchita is just eradicated. What you may have otherwise spent lifetimes to experience is completely eradicated with knowledge. And what comes to the fore is your spiritual mission. So the knowledge with which you engage in this lifetime is actually having a deep spiritual transformation within, which may not be apparent to you, but it has a deep, deep consequence. So united with the knowledge acquired in this former body, you are born into an environment conducive where you can strive even more than before for perfection. Here if you पूरी शिद्दत से अगर क्लास में आओगे, you will be born into an environment where there'll only be satsang. There'll only be satsang. An environment more conducive where you can strive more easily than before for perfection. So no effort is lost. In fact, your effort only compounds. Your effort compounds. It becomes easier and easier for you to progress. Verse number 44. Purvabhyasena te naiva riyate hyavashopi saha jignasurapi yogasya shabda brahmati vartate. Purvabhyasena te naiva riyate hyavashopi saha jignasurapi yogasya shabda brahmati vartate. Purva abhyasa, by that former practice, purva abhyasa, in this lifetime, by that former practice alone, he is born irresistibly. The work you put in today will certainly, most definitely propel you forward. You will be born irresistibly. आप प्रकृति को चुनौती दे रहे हो. It's literally like that. And Prakriti will honor it. Nature will honor it. By your form of practice, by your sadhana, by your dedication, by your shraddha with which you study. Don't worry, will I gain enlightenment? Will I achieve it? Don't worry about it. This nature will reward you. You will be born irresistibly into peace, prosperity, wisdom, and environment of sadhana. Even wishing to even wishing to know yoga, he goes beyond Shabda Brahma. Incredible statement. Even wishing to know yoga, he goes beyond Shabda Brahma. Shabda Brahma is in one way you can translate it as say mere theoretical knowledge. In another way, you can translate it as sort of intellectual concept, right? To go beyond intellectual concept to make it lived experience, and ultimately going beyond Shabda Brahma means gaining the experiential enlightenment rather than sort of theoretical sort of philosophy or discussion. So to go beyond Shabda Brahma is to attain enlightenment, essentially. Even wishing to know yoga, you go beyond Shabda Brahma, you gain enlightenment. What you have to focus on is to constantly refine your own wish. What do you wish for? You wish to know yoga, you wish to merge with God, you wish to realize the truth, your wish will be granted. The truth is that you don't wish for it. Or along with this wish, 20 other wishes are given more priority. Mumukshatva, wishing to know yoga means mumukshatva, that desire for liberation, that disinterest in anything else that the world has to offer. I am not interested. I just want to break free. When you hear the words of Freddie Mercury from Queen, you know what song I'm talking about? I want to break free. What do you think of? Some people may think of breaking free from the shackles of society and all sorts of other things. But a yogi will say, I want to break free from the shackles of this world. I want to achieve that state of liberation, of moksha. Whatever you truly wish for, find that purpose, means will follow. Or if means are not following, look deep within and you'll realize that purpose isn't quite materialized yet. And that's okay. No one can force you. He's only talking about the power of your own thought, the power of your own desire. That same desire which is keeping you entangled in samsara. We demonize desire. Desire is not a bad thing. We demonize desire as if it's a bad thing. No, the direction of the desire can make or break your sadhana. That same desire which keeps you entangled in the world, if you refine it, if you lift it, that same desire will propel you to the ultimate spiritual experience. What you desire makes or breaks your life. You desire wealth, you desire name, fame, all well and good. Do you desire love? Do you desire emotion? Do you desire knowledge? Do you desire learning? Do you desire spiritual connection? Do you desire union with God? It's all desire. And as your desire, so will your action be, so will your Shraddha be. So the idea is not to demonize this thing called desire, it's to actually purify it, purify your desire. That same desire, wishing to know yoga, wishing to attain liberation, wishing to realize the truth, will help you gain enlightenment. Shabda Brahma, verse number 45. Prayatnadyatmanastu yogi samshuddha kilbishah aneka janma samsiddha tato yati param gatim. Prayatnadyatmanastu योगी संशुद्ध किल्बिषः अनेक जन्म संसिद्धः ततो याति param gatim. But the yogi, striving with assiduity, completely purified of sins, perfected through many births, then reaches the supreme goal. So, he says, who is a yogi? A yogi is one who keeps striving with assiduity. A yogi is not one who worries, oh my God, I am not going to reach my goal, all will be lost. No, a yogi is only focused on karmanye vadhikaraste. My right, my authority, my jurisdiction is only on the effort I need to put in. And with that focus, he continues to strive and struggle, doing karyam karma. Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karoti yah. Sa sannyasi cha yogi cha. Verse number 1 of this chapter. So with that mindset, a yogi performs their karyam karma, striving with assiduity. So a yogi born through successive lives into environments more and more conducive for their sadhana, keeps striving, realizing that their effort is the only thing that's making the difference. So striving with assiduity, completely purified of sins. Slowly, gradually, you will be purified of your sins. Samshuddha. I'm not going to go into the tangent of what it means to be sinful. We've talked a lot of times about what is sin. If you have a question about sin, you can ask it in the beginning of next class. Otherwise, I know I'll not finish this chapter. But purified of sins means having eliminated all mental agitation, all conflict. Why? Because you have a clarity of purpose, you have a purity of thought. So nothing you do rebounds as guilt, as regret. You're driven by that spiritual clarity. Perfected through many births. This is not something that comes very easily, dear friends. But let me assure you that the very fact that you're here is that it means that you have been working on this perfection through many births. While it's not easy, I must also draw your attention to how many births you may have been through to be in this classroom. Otherwise, you could be playing golf this morning. Vedanta. I need to work on my handicap, guys. What is it that makes you give this precedence over something else? What is it that makes you wake up in the morning and listen to the same thing, the same guy talking the same stuff every day? You have been working through many births and therefore you have landed here. And if you keep striving to struggle, that's the effort, that's the focus, then you will reach the supreme goal, Param Gatim, the supreme goal of liberation, moksha, enlightenment. The only difference out here is your effort. The more intense your effort, the quicker you'll get it. But in the same chapter, he says, Shanai Shanai, slowly, gradually. If you try to take sharp turns, it won't help. It'll actually be counterproductive. So, fully assimilating this concept, gradually, step by step, try to become a better person day by day. You are on the right path to reach the supreme goal. Verse number 46. Tapasvibhyodhiko yogi jnanibhyopi matodhikah karmibhyashchadhiko yogi tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. Tapasvibhyodhiko yogi jnanibhyopi matodhikah karmibhyashchadhiko yogi tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. Rituji, please hold on to your question. I know I'm being unkind, but maybe pen it down or something so that you don't forget. We'll definitely come to it in another 5-7 minutes. Yeah. Tapasvibhyo dhiko yogi. Adhika. Superior. The yogi is superior to the ascetic, to the tapasvi. Superior even to the wise. Jnanibhya. superior even to Brahmibhya, performers of action. Who is a yogi? A yogi is one who maintains a razor sharp vision through lifetimes, who continues to strive and struggle, to assimilate everything that helps him propel on his path, doesn't get derailed, doesn't get complacent, doesn't get demotivated. A yogi is one who has that ultimate shraddha to see his effort to the end. In that sense, it is said a yogi is superior to the ascetic. A yogi is superior to the wise. A yogi is superior to one who performs action. See, someone who follows certain, you know, paths of yoga really celebrate this verse and say, oh, we are superior to the jnana yogis, we are superior to the bhaktas, we are superior to the karma yogis or whatever. They have not understood the concept. What he's trying to say out here is that the very fact that makes you a yogi, is your tapas the end or is it a means to the end? Is your jnanam an end or is it a means to the end? Is your karma an end or is it a means to the end? Your karma itself will bring you a lot of pleasure. Your jnanam itself will bring you a lot of clarity. Your tapasya will itself bring you a lot of fruits. You'll prosper, no doubt. But at some level, we're all subject to getting distracted. We're all subject to getting derailed. We all become complacent, thinking that these are the end in itself. Oh, eloquently chanting the Bhagavad Gita, eloquently taking classes on the Bhagavad Gita, explaining to people, helping so many people around you through all their crises in life. We think that is the end in itself. That may become the mindset of a jnani. It's very possible. It happens. It happens everywhere. In fact, the more people you help, the more fame that is showered upon you, the more people begin to rely on you. You start thinking, oh, this is what it is meant for. But who is a yogi? A yogi is one who realizes this jnanam is not the end in itself. It's a means to the end. This karma is not an end in itself. It's a means to the end. Let me not lose track until I attain enlightenment, until I attain moksha. That emphasis on that shraddha is what makes a yogi a yogi. Me mataha, it's my opinion, it's my perspective, right? It's my, I think this is what it is. So don't think of it as, dissecting and breaking up the various sort of branches of spiritual paths and thinking one is superior to the other. What this means is a yogi by definition is one who sees things to the end, right, and doesn't get complacent or distracted. So therefore, with that spirit, be a yogi, O Arjuna, assimilating whatever practices you need for yourself, assimilating karma, assimilating bhakti, assimilating jnanam, assimilating tapasya, whatever you need, whatever as per your nature, assimilate all the practices. But with that bhavana of a yogi, understand these practices are a means to the end, not the end in themselves. Verse number 47. Yogi namapi sarvesham madgatenantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yo mam same yuktatamo matah. Yogi namapi sarvesham madgatenantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yo mam same yuktatamo matah. Me matah, I consider, it's my opinion. What is my opinion? What is my consideration? Of all yogis, he who with inner self absorbed in me worships me with shraddha, he is considered by me to be wholly united. Bhakti really strengthens your resolve. The deeper your bhakti, the more consistent and stronger your practice, your sadhana. So herein comes the gradual reminder, that emphasis on bhakti. And it's a very fitting conclusion to this chapter, because from the next chapter onwards, we'll begin that section, chapter 7 to 12 onwards, wherein the emphasis will be on bhakti, the language will be of bhakti. Of all yogis, he who with ultimate bhakti, with inner self completely absorbed in me. When Lord Krishna says me, he is not referring to the person Krishna, but Bhagavan. He is referring to the self, the Atman. Me who has transcended my limited personality and attained the state of the Atman, enlightenment. Absorbed in me, worshipping me with Shraddha, with complete dedication. So he who completely immerses themselves in this bhakti bhavana and propels their journey forward with deep devotion, such a person is considered wholly united. Right? Jnanam without bhakti is insufficient. Bhakti without jnanam is madness. You have to be a yogi. You have to have all the jnanam and the clarity of thought along with bhakti. On the contrary, only jnanam and no bhakti, it turns you arrogant, it turns you tasteless. It'll actually limit you. So this journey is a beautiful symphony of karma, bhakti, jnana. One who assimilates all these elements of the spiritual journey. Such a person is considered by me to be wholly united. Such a person is yukta tamaha, completely united. Yukti is the ultimate purpose of yoga. Yukti. Wholly united means completely united. There's no doubt about it. So when you take up the spiritual disciplines in proportion to your nature and pick up elements of everything that support you on your journey, that will ensure that you gain the ultimate enlightenment and you become wholly united. So Arjuna, be a yogi. How does it start to be a yogi? Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karoti yaha. That's the only thing you need to remember. If I have to be a yogi, how do I start? Do my duty and responsibility to the best of my ability, not procrastinate it, not delay it, not make up some excuse to not avoid it. Do my job to the best of my ability. Whatever roles I have been given or whatever roles I have taken up, play them beautifully. With an attitude of gratitude, with an attitude of service, with a yajna bhavna. That is who a yogi is. With that thought, we come to the conclusion of this chapter. Chapter 6 of the Bhagavad Gita ends with this verse. Om Tat Sada Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Dhyana Yogo Nama Shashtho Dhyayaha. As is tradition, we'll chant the first verse of this chapter to indicate that we aren't quite done with our study. And this exercise is only the beginning of various efforts to completely absorb and assimilate this knowledge to its complete depth. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Anashritah Karma Phalam Karyam Karma Karoti Yaha Sasanyasi Cha Yogi Cha Na Niragnir Na Chakriyaha. Memorize this verse. With that thought, we'll conclude chapter 6. Are there any questions? Rituji had a question, if she's still around.
Yes, namaste, Sarji. So, I have questions. I'm trying to formulate them properly, like advised by you. So, pardon me if I'm not very articulate this one time. Next time, I'll make a better effort. So, so I was one question that comes to my mind is, like you said, that we are like an ocean and a drop. Our objective is to, uh, you know, self-realization and move on. So I sometimes get very confused about being selfish and selfless. And this thing about moving on, if we say we are not affected, like if you see pain, the example of Ashok, the great Samrat Ashok comes to my mind. He got pained by what he saw around him, the misery. So, I mean, who's a yogi who is not affected, but anyway wants to help, but is not pained, can sleep properly?
Okay, so you're a drop in the ocean. You're that's one sort of, when I was trying to explain selfless action, that's what I said. And
Yes.
attain enlightenment, okay, that's a totally different, or it's related, but I wouldn't sort of mix the two things in understanding this. But you're talking about how can one not be affected and still work towards sort of resolving something or addressing something. Is that the question?
Uh, Not really. I
Mm.
know, like, I think I know a little bit of how you can still do it. But my question is that uh, actually, I shall, properly sort of frame it, because I get confused time and again about this. This thing about our purpose just being the, self-realization and not more. I mean, somehow that appears to me like being a little selfish interest. How is that selfless? Is
Forget
what
about it.
pops in my mind.
Forget about it. When you if something doesn't necessarily sing to you, it's better to shelve it, right? And well, I can explain why it's not selfish, and that may help. But 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 when you're sort of ready to, when anyone, and not, I'm not saying you as in this person, you, because 99% of people are not able to comprehend or not ready for it, right? But when you're ready for it, you'll realize. But why is it not selfish? It's not selfish because to be selfish means to cater to the ego. To be selfish means to cater to this person, this individual, this individuality. Self-realization is the complete opposite. Self-realization, actually, the problem, the confusion is with the word self-realization. It's with the word self. Remove the word self. Call it realization. Call it God realization. And in this process, what you're actually doing is just the opposite of selfishness. You're annihilating, eliminating, completely eradicating this very selfish ego. To be selfish means to, first of all, to create a separation and a distinction of I against you, I different from you, I different from everything else. This I becomes an isolated entity and only focused to cater to it, its requirements, its needs, its pleasures, its wishes, its desires. That is selfishness. But when you want to completely eradicate this I, that's the path of self realization. So that's the very essence of self realization. Okay? Very naturally, this is a very abstract thing. But the guidance given to us is that yes, It may appear at some stage very esoteric and very sort of alienating to some people, but the sort of lion's share of this journey towards eradicating the ego. Oh, my apologies. Sorry. I had put on the charger, but it wasn't turned on. Anyway, so my laptop just went blank. Anyhow, as I was saying, that this journey of self-realization, the lion's share of this journey is actually emphasizing, as is clear in verse number 1 of chapter 6, that you need to do your bounden duty in the spirit of detachment. You need to do what perhaps the world would consider unselfish action, right? To the best of your ability, in a spirit of detachment, right? As long as you do that, and that's a sweet middle spot, which is, agreeable to the world as well, and also, will yield sort of spiritual progress and spiritual benefits. As you delve deeper and deeper into this knowledge, you will appreciate and understand what they mean by enlightenment. And when you do that, it will become clear. It's certainly not selfish. You are you're working towards giving up that very source of selfishness, let alone being selfish. You don't get enlightened. Understand that. You get enlightened from yourself. You get liberated from yourself. Ritu doesn't get enlightened. You attain liberation from Ritu, right? So that is what is moksha. That is what is liberation. Ritu is currently shackling you into an ego, into a limited individual, distinct and separate from others. When you break through this shackle, this nama rupa of Ritu, and merge with the totality, the oneness, realize your oneness with all beings, that is enlightenment. Right? It's completely contrary to selfishness. However, sometimes the world always perceives things in its own fashion, right? The world always has expectations out of you, and when you don't live up to those expectations, they're quick to brand you. Sometimes this path requires you to do things which the world may not want you to do. It may require you to go into a period of solitude. It might require you to maybe change your lifestyle, or change the way of doing things. It might require you to move away from certain things you may have been doing. And therein the world is very quick to jump. अरे ये तो बदल गया है. अरे ये तो अपने में ही मग्न रहता है. अरे ये तो, the world is very quick to blame anyone for anything, right? But ultimately, remember that your intention is what matters the most, not necessarily what the world perceives as selfish or unselfish. Any further questions? Did that help, Rituji?
So, of course, it does, and thank you so much. But like you just mentioned, the sweet middle spot. So the sweet middle spot is the thing to seek for, is to seek.
You are in the middle, and therefore it looks like the middle spot, right? When you
Oh, that
progress,
way.
it'll seem like, okay, you don't need that anymore also. So from where we are currently, from where most of us are currently, the very fact that you're asking this question, what we need is unselfish action. What we need is to reduce ego by encompassing others more, right? That's the process. That's the actual sadhana. Slowly we'll as we refine it, we'll realize this is not the middle spot. This is actually, we moved ahead from it also. So I'm calling it the middle spot because that's our vantage point. That's where we are today, or that's where we need to be today.
So one thing's very clear about this dissolution of ego, of course. And of course, this just puts quite a few things in place. One more question, if you have the time to spare today. Otherwise, I'll probably put it on the chat and maybe we can understand it. Uh, so, can I ask this other question?
Please go ahead.
So, this thing about the yogi, I get confused time and again as to who's a yogi. I mean, uh, uh, so anyone who's on the path of, let's say, bhakti, जैसे अभी आपने कहा कुछ in a while ago, when you're saying someone who's only on the bhakti marg versus a yogi, तो जो सिर्फ भक्ति मार्ग पे है वो योगी नहीं है. मतलब about this term, my confusion is slightly because such an important term that's used time and again, yogi. So I just want to understand what exactly does it mean in Vedant, I mean in this field of study.
Whether it's a bhakta or a jnani or anyone, when I was explaining
Okay.
that penultimate verse, one who thinks of
Yes.
their sadhana as an end in itself, one who thinks of, one who gets complacent in their own field of activity, right? As opposed to realizing it is a means to an end, as opposed to remembering that, okay, these are what ultimately all your sadhana, ultimately all your spiritual engagements, whether it's karma, bhakti, jnana, whatever it is, their purpose is to bring you to a place of quietude. Their purpose is to bring you to the seat of meditation. Ultimately, through meditation, you need to attain enlightenment, moksha, liberation, whatever you want to call it. And that's the purpose of the spiritual journey. The purpose of the spiritual journey is not Bhagavad Gita classes. The purpose of the spiritual journey is not bhajan kirtan. But through these knowledge, through these satsang, through the bhajan kirtan, what does it do to you? It's meant to turn you meditative. And with that meditative mind, you plunge into the ultimate sadhana of dhyanam, right? So a yogi is one who understands that, appreciates that, and keeps acting in this world, doing his obligatory duties, realizing that is the goal. Chapter 6, verse 1. Who is a yogi? Who does his bounden duty without depending on the fruit of action is a yogi, right? So we have to, we have to, you know, I would highly, chapter 6, verse 1 gives a very clear sort of definition of who a yogi is, and the rest of chapter 5 and 6, they've continually given us sort of a they've painted a portrait of the qualities, the characteristics, the state of mind of a yogi. So I would urge you to look at, both these chapters, sort of, go through the text, go through the commentary, because when all of it comes together, you'll get a portrait, you'll get a beautiful portrait of who this person is, right? At no point is Vedanta sort of, either sort of criticizing any other path. In fact, there's no other path. It's not another path. For Vedanta, karma, bhakti, jnana is all part of the journey. In fact, they are the essential elements of the journey, right? So certainly don't think that, okay, it's saying that one path is limited or another path is more important. No such thing. Just one person who stays completely dedicated with Shraddha on the path is a yogi, right? Who does yoga with Shraddha is a yogi. Whether it's karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, whatever yoga, right? Any other questions?
Uh, Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, with that
Thank
thought,
you,
we'll
sir.
conclude.
Hari Om,
Thank you
everyone.
so much. Hari Om.
Hari Om, sir.
Thank you.
Thank
Hari
you.
Om.
Thank you.
Thank